Well, I don't think one decides to move into public housing. One needs to move into public housing, or at least I did. And I guess I decided to, if I decided anything, it was that I didn't want to be homeless. I'm disabled and I needed accessible housing. And because I'm forced to live on disability in order to get medical insurance, I have to live under a certain income, and it means that I have to then live in, well, I'm one of the lucky people who lives under a certain income who gets to live in public housing. And YesslerTerrace is in Seattle. It is a multi-ethnic, multiracial community, and I treasure that about this community. Aside from, of course, needing to live here because of income reasons, I've made a home here. I love my neighbors, all good people, all of whom are working hard, raising families, decent human beings who care about one another, I think, and who care about me. And we've made a home here together, and I'm committed to living here in harmony with them, and they're committed to living here as good neighbors with me, and that matters quite a good deal. And it's in part because of the way we all live together that I hold this neighborhood as so very, very important. You know, my Vietnamese neighbors need to live here, I think, because, you know, they're living in exile. They're refugees from their homeland, and they live here in the heart of Little Saigon in Seattle.
My name Hao Cao, and before I live here 13 years, I like everything here. I go somewhere, or everything convenient for old people.
When my family of 5 first came to America, we were received by YesslerTerrace. We got a 3-bedroom apartment on Yessler. As they grew up, my children were able to go to school, graduate, and get jobs. They moved out one by one, and now the rest of my family lives well in the suburbs, and I still live here by myself, but now in a 1-bedroom apartment. YesslerTerrace has helped my family to get the time and space to educate themselves, to save money, and to eventually move out. No one wants to live in the projects all their life. It's helped us to make it in the world, and I appreciate that about my life here at YesslerTerrace.
We came to America in 1994 and have been living here ever since. Living at YesslerTerrace has been easy living for us. Here we're close to Vietnamese people, Vietnamese stores, to the hospital and the doctors. And for old people like us, this is very essential to our way of life. Living at YesslerTerrace, it's a very close community. The community is very tight. Everyone knows each other. If we were forced to move to faraway places, we wouldn't know anybody and might not even be able to speak with them. That would isolate us, and that's what we're afraid of. Losing our people and losing our community.
It's kind of interesting because if you go any place else in the U.S., you know, you don't really see different people from all these cultures interacting so, you know, peacefully. But here it's like you have Vietnamese people and then you have Somalian people, which are 2 of the most different cultures that you could ever possibly have in the same place. But they interact and they're, you know, great, and you know, they seem to have this sense of community and bonding. When we first moved here, I was a little scared. I didn't know anyone, so but the whole community was kind of, they came in and they basically helped me get settled in, and they made me feel comfortable. So now I really love living here, and I enjoy it, and I love the people in here.
I've been hearing that Seattle Housing Authority has plans to move us out and build here. That would destroy our way of life. The only thing I know are the people around me and the way of life here. I'm very afraid of what might happen if these plans come about.
Well, the Housing Authority has consistently lied to each community it has redeveloped. It lied to High Point, it lied to Rainier Vista, it lied to Holly Park. So, and it always begins with sort of lies about how they'll be inclusive in the planning with folks. And then they make more promises about how they actually promised residents of Holly Park and Rainier Vista that they would help them figure out a way to buy the units. And yet hundreds of people got displaced out of those units, and very few people are actually able to go on and buy houses which range from $250,000 to $280,000 a year. Remembering that most of the people in Yessler Terrace do not make even the living wage of $17 an hour for a family of 3. This is not a sustainable way to keep families housed. But when we say this idea does not work for our neighborhood, does anybody even listen to the suggestions we have otherwise? No, we get lectured to by a city official who said, and I quote, "You know, the homeless are entitled to use public buildings as well. Shelters are not answers for homelessness. They cost cities too much money, and we know this. Real permanent housing is the solution." So tearing down more of it doesn't make more sense for Seattle. It does not make sense to the residents of Yessler Terrace, and I don't know, I don't think the bureaucrats have the sense God gave them.
We don't really have any place else to go. If you take away our homes and if you take away everything we've ever known, what do we have left? And we've already come from places where distraught homes, and we've already run away from a past that has all these complications and violence. And to run to a place like Yessler, which is quiet and peaceful, it's the best feeling in the world. And to take all of a sudden we have that all taken away, then
If the government send me go out, then give me back, come back. I don't want to go far away. I want to live here forever.
Cũng nhờ mấy ông giúp đỡ.
I'm very grateful and very happy that there's help for us from the coalition group. It keeps hope alive in me that I will be able to stay here in my community and retain my life here. I ask if there is anyone more who can help us in our struggle to remain here. We would be so grateful for your help.
I don't think that poor people saying, "Hey, we don't think this is a good idea," is going to work. I think people in Rainier Vista did that. I think people in Holly Park did that. I think people in High Point did that. What I think, though, is at this point, CCEJ, which is the Community Coalition for Environmental Justice, the Yessler Terrace Community Council, the residents living here, are now working to build a broad-based coalition. So when you say, what am I willing to do? Well, I've turned to my 10 friends who are organizers and asked them, what are you willing to do? I want all of you to do something for me. You know that I'm poor. You know that I'm disabled. If you don't want me to live in a trailer in your backyard, then you all need to step up to the bat. And what are you willing to do? And it's hard because we're all fighting on so many fronts right now. But still, I think that it's going to take broad-based coalitions of people saying to the city of Seattle, we demand that Yessler Terrace be left alone. We stand behind our poor brothers and sisters. We demand that permanent housing be a solution to homelessness and not more temporary shelters as a stopgap measure, which don't really work. We demand this because we think that Yessler Terrace is, get this, a priceless part of Seattle, because it really is.
Yessler Terrace, what it means to me is peace, safety. There are so many people out here who love and respect one another that to find it anywhere else is going to be the hardest thing possible.